So we're just going to talk about PDP. So just to ask you a few questions about it first of all. In relation to using Blackboard, have you had any experience of using an online virtual learning environment such as Blackboard prior to starting this course? No, so it was all new to you?
Yeah, very.
No, not really at all. Certainly nothing as in-depth as Blackboard.
Okay. So what tools have you used within Blackboard which has helped you to reflect on your learning?
I've used the blogs, the wikis, partly just to reflect back on things that have happened in the past. Even just accessing material online, it just also helps because it just reinforces lessons.
Excellent.
Really all the exercises that we've done that have been, as we've gone through the course really, the stuff where we've contributed as a group or stuff that I've done individually, it's been quite good to go back on and have a look through and see where you initially started off and where you are now.
Okay, so what were those actual tools?
Obviously the wikis and the blogs, and some of the referencing materials that sit behind Blackboard as well.
Yeah, okay. And have you used a blog before starting the course?
Never used one, no.
No, I haven't. I'd have a clue what a blog or a wiki was, if I'm honest. So I heard things on the radio, come see our blog, but actually what I thought it was I'm not quite sure. But
okay. And so when was the blog for personal development planning actually introduced to you?
Pretty much the first lesson, what I remember, it was like one of the first things that sort of like they mentioned that was going to be a big part of just this whole course.
It was basically right at the beginning of the course. It sort of laid the foundation for the rest of the course really. So we started on that module along with hospitality and environment, so they worked alongside each other.
Yeah. Initial thoughts when it was introduced to you?
Actually, that was quite exciting, just simply because I think we're kind of now in a world where there's blogs everywhere, not just like in college or anything, but it's a big part of a lot of people's lives. So it's always been something that's interested me, but kind of something I've been apprehensive to approach.
I don't know really. I'm fairly open-minded. We came on the course fairly open-minded about what we were going to be doing. And I suppose sort of throwing down your thoughts on a computer just to be read by somebody else and fed back was a bit sort of like, I was a bit unsure initially when you started writing, putting your thoughts down on paper. Is this appropriate for this? Is that, what do you write, sort of thing, But it gets easier as you sort of go through and start getting the feedback, and then it becomes quite an easy process.
Excellent. So how have you used your blog?
Really, more than anything, to reflect back on sort of significant events that happened during the time in college, but also really to kind of reflect on things that have happened in the past and outside of college that's related to the actual degree. So things to do with my career and just to make sure that I'm kind of improving, so to speak. Yeah.
I must admit, I save things up. I sort of, I'll do a couple of weeks or something, and I'll have something to say. I don't just I know some of the guys sort of open it up and pour their heart out on it, but I'm sort of more, the highs and lows, things, for instance, the results drop through the post, and it's quite a good high, or a piece of work's been done, you've got a good mark for it, then I go on there and write something, or I could be sort of midway through a module, and I'll either be stuck or something that I'm happy with or that I've done, and I'll sort of do 2 or 3 bits all in one hit. It's not something I go on there every night and put stuff into, but no, it's good.
Excellent. So what sorts of things have you written in your blog?
I think it's just about what I've learned, what I found exciting, what I haven't, sort of various issues that I've had, and I find it's a very good way of getting points across, but it not being too personal, so it just allows me to get more things across because I don't feel too emotionally involved in it.
Yeah, definitely the grades that I've had, and say highs and lows, things where I possibly thought I got the wrong end of the stick or something like that, and I'll just sort of ask for a bit of clarification, or all sorts really, and some of the PDP bits and pieces. Either some of the objectives, whether I had a look at some of those.
Okay. Have you used it for things like tracking your progress?
Yeah, I mean, it's things that have happened in the past in like, you know, semester 1 or something, I know that I've been quite emotional when I've written about certain things, you know, whether it's just being happy or sad or whatever, and it's quite interesting to sort of go back and see it in a more objective point of view, and also to go through stages of when I was completing my assignments and just seeing how I used to kind of handle things, you know, about, you know, a few months ago.
Okay. And what about things like monitoring your grades and feedback and things like that?
Yeah, I think grades are very important. I think, again, it's the sort of dealing with the assignments, looking back at how, you know, this is the grades I got and then how I can improve on it. And along with that, you've got the feedback online, which I think helps, because then the things that we're doing in the present, we can look back and it's all on hand, like easy access, so we're able to kind of hopefully use that to improve for the future anyway.
For me, not so much progress, it's more, I suppose, if you went back to the start and looked at where you actually started, then yes, you can see the progress. And so obviously, I suppose, with putting grades and bits and pieces in there, you can see how you progress through.
And how's the personal development planning process helped with this?
Again, it teaches you the skills that you kind of need for a more professional sort of way of executing projects. I think, you know, there's the time management, which I think is very important, especially when you're trying to juggle college life with work. And then there's just even the SWOT analysis and those kind of just self-analysis, but trying to be as objective as possible. And I think things like that just help in that you would do something, and if things are getting a bit out of hand, you've got these skills to try and take a step back and really analyse what you're doing in a more objective point of view, and just try and keep the emotion out as much as possible, so that in a point where it doesn't interfere with the way you look at things.
It just helps you to focus on what it is you want to be doing, really, in lots of areas, because whether it doesn't necessarily have to be all personal, although it's all related, so it can be just normal assignment, study type objectives, or it can be stuff which is in the workplace, which you can sort of can follow on there.
Okay. Have you seen an impact on your grades and general improvement in areas such as study skills?
Yeah, I mean, just when I first started college, I think my ability to even just write reports and to write essays and things like that were probably not great, but as we were going through all these classes and learning more about these study skills and learning about what are weaknesses and working on those, I think it just helps you become a more complete person, which enables you to complete projects a lot easier.
Certainly things such as Harvard referencing and the things that don't come normal, I suppose, don't come easily, some of the academic side of life. So it's just, again, it focuses you in on those areas because it's a weakness.